halfway there during game week. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of The Beat. He is Jeremy Birmingham. I am Austin Ward. These are. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
These are the stocks. We were asked, Birm, on Friday about X factors for this game. And we're supposed to take Jeremiah, Julian Say, and Caleb Downs out of the equation. Let's take all starters off the board, okay?
Ooh.
So let's take some X factors, because Ohio State against Texas, number 1 versus number 2 in the coaches poll, the only poll that matters, the most respected poll in the world.
Yep.
Number 1 versus number 2. We've got to dig deeper into some of these matchups. And
coaches are the only ones who should do a preseason poll.
They're the ones that know the talent on the roster.
Like, there should not be a media preseason poll. That's so stupid.
Yeah, because the media then just puts their thumb on it. It's like, see, we told you, look out for James Franklin in Penn State, which
Yep.
That just revealed how silly that actually is. So I want to, the game is Saturday at noon.
Saturday.
The starters are going to play a great
It's
deal.
over there
in
the stadium.
That's right. That's a callback from Snap Judgments on Tuesday. Go watch that if you haven't on 10 TV Plus, 10 TV's YouTube, or 97.1 The Fans YouTube.
Yeah.
You can't watch it on the audio podcast platforms, but you can
Depends
listen
on
to
how vivid your imagination is.
That's true.
I suppose.
So anyway, I want to start naming some names from the two deep, not starters, that are going to have an impact on this game. Some potential X factors, if you will.
If you don't mind, can I, right off the rip, dive into the gray area? Because I don't know if Malik Hartford is a starter or not.
Let me see. Yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay, here's the deal.
Really covering your bases here. You had Jalen McLean on bold predictions, and now you're going to Malik Hartford.
I believe it is super important in this game to establish early that you are going to be the more physical team.
Okay.
I believe it is very important that Arch Manning be hit by someone early in this game who will remind him that he didn't want to play anymore when these teams last met.
Some Lathan Ransom flashbacks.
And to me, as I've said all offseason, the guy who fits the Lathan Ransom mold role goal here for Ohio State is Malik Hartford. And so I think it's going to be, Arch is going to run a lot on Saturday. I really believe that. I think Texas, the best thing to do against a defense that you don't know anything about is to stress them. And the best way to stress a defense is to have a quarterback who can equate numbers and can move a little bit. And Malik Hartford, to me, is the guy on Saturday who has to be not just an enforcer, but a guy that has to be a really important player in this game. Texas is going to throw the ball to the running backs a lot. They're going to throw to the tight ends a lot. And somebody like Malik Hartford has to be an eraser. But the biggest thing that he can do is erase Arch Manning's memory of why he wants to play in this game.
Maybe don't advocate for injuries on this show.
Maybe he should consider not playing football anymore.
Wow.
Like hit him
He's gonna double down.
Yeah, I don't want him to be hurt. I want him to question his aspirations in life. Okay? Like, you're a Manning. You don't need to do this.
He's already been paid. Panini has already signed him. He's done all these autos.
You're already rich AF.
Yeah.
Right? Your uncles are two of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the sport of football.
Let's cool it with Eli.
I mean, he's won like 3 Super Bowls.
Well, that's not true.
Okay, at least 2. He's pretty. You don't have to do this. And all I'm saying is Malik Hartford is a guy who can make you question whether or not you have a desire to continue down this path of athletics.
Okay.
I want it to be a healthy scratch for the rest of the season. I want him to be like, I want Arch Manning to wake up on Sunday and say, you know what? This is not worth it for me. And the only way that happens is if Malik Hartford is a game wrecker.
Well, we are off and running.
Yeah,
I
baby.
did not think that was
You knew these stocks were going to go hard.
When you said
we're going hard today.
When you asked for permission to start in the gray area, I didn't think.
You didn't think I meant ethical?
I didn't think ethically was the line that you were trying to cross.
I'm not saying I don't want the guy to be hurt, but I think you have the stadium has to be crazy. It has to be super loud. It has to be at a point where he doesn't hear anything. Everything's a blur, and then he gets rocked by Malik Hartford to the point where he says, "You know what? I'm not sure if football's for me anymore." he might put his helmet on that little thing on the sideline that the air goes through, which won't even be on. It's only going to be like 74 degrees. It's going to be a perfect day. And he just
Brim Cantori's back.
And then he just leaves it there. And he's like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm going to head upstairs.
Okay.
But Malik Hartford is the guy that has the ability to do that to you. And I'm hoping he's in a position to do so. So to me, long story short is that Malik Hartford is a under the radar impact maker for this game.
Okay.
Follow that up.
I don't think that I can. I'm not sure that I even want to.
I love Wednesdays.
You know what?
Have you seen that show? The new one on Netflix? Have you watched it? Is Liberty not old enough?
Allie watches it. I do not.
I haven't watched it. The girls watch it. I'm like, this seems so stupid.
I don't want nightmares. Actually, she turned on the first season. I'm like, nah, I think I'm good here.
No, thanks.
After one episode. So it wasn't for me. So it almost feels boring for me to talk about Jarquz Carter now.
You're darn right.
Because I just don't know how to follow what you did to start off Wednesday's Stock Watch. But I mentioned this on Tuesday, and it has become such a pattern. Whether you're talking to Ohio State teammates, other defensive linemen, people on the rushman, Larry Johnson, Matt Patricia, now Ryan Day adding his 2 cents to bring up a true freshman defensive tackle. And this was happening, I think, even before we saw Jason Moore in a walking boot. There was conversation about the summer off-season program he was having, how impressive he was. And I always, this, Birm, we've been doing this a long time. I don't want to get too far ahead of things with true freshmen. Even to some extent, I was that way with Jeremiah Smith.
To the point that you roll your eyes at me back in the spring when I said Jarquz Carter was going to be an important player for this team. Probably.
I didn't see it at that point. And the recruiting profile was part of it. You have that in the back of your mind. Well, it's a 3-star. Yes, you did play in a competitive part of the country, and you show up and you're, 6'3", 285. Like that's nothing to sneeze at, obviously, for a true freshman. But it's like, is the actual play strength going to be there? Is the ability to play? You're asking for 15 to 20 snaps potentially if you're going to be the 5th defensive tackle for Ohio State, or the 3rd 3-tech, or even the 2nd one. I don't know what that's going to look like. We're all going to find out on Saturday, but you can't ignore, we didn't see in training camp a lot of full contact stuff. It was the first 3 days, and so it's been reliant on what we're hearing from other people who are watching practice, what the coaching staff is saying, and I think that it's significant. It has been very meaningful the way that they have talked about Jarquz Carter, and I don't believe that it is done on accident. Because when it's that public and it's that repeated, I think it truly counts for something. And again, he does not have to take 30 snaps away from Edric Houston or 20 from Tywone Malone. If he can give this team 10 to 15, that's way more than I would have thought 6 months ago.
Yeah, and it's reasonable. Maybe not this weekend, but I think certainly by the end of September, that seems reasonable for the trajectory that Jarquz is on. The truth is, when it comes to a guy like Tywone Malone, Tywone Malone has made a few more plays in his career at Ohio State than Jarquz Carter has to this point, right? Not a lot.
Not many.
Not many. So once you get the bullets flying and you're in a live game setting, the cream is going to rise to the top. And Jarquz Carter from Florida, high school football down there, is insane. The quickness, the hand placement, the hand strength. He's a guy that is going to make some plays. And maybe it's not this weekend, but even the fact that he's being mentioned, I think you can't ignore that.
Remind me, and remind everyone listening, how Jarquz Carter got on the radar for Ohio State. Why?
I mean, he was borderline top 100 player throughout some parts of his recruiting process, and nobody really. It's one of the Larry Johnson specials. It's like Tyleik Williams a few years ago. Where you're like, okay, I don't know why this kid's committed to Ohio State, but cool. He's not going to stick, and then he sticks, and then he's a first round pick, and you're like, oh, cool. Larry Johnson does a remarkable job building relationships with kids, and Jarquz Carter, soft-spoken, very cerebral. He fits the mold perfectly. Again, his entire recruitment, the last 4 months of it, you're like, well, he's going to flip to Florida eventually. He's 15 minutes from Gainesville. He's going to flip. And then he's like, oh, here I am, arriving early and
ready to go.
I'm at the Rose Bowl, and I'm here to be a part of the Ohio State Buckeye football team. So he certainly has the pedigree and the talent and the level of competition and just the genetics to be a problem. So hopefully it starts this weekend.
Are you going to continue to operate in the gray area, or do you have an actual?
Well, again, I am actually going to operate in the gray area again because.
Are you okay?
Will Kacmarek is a starter.
What are we doing?
Ostensibly. Ryan Day.
Ostensibly?
Yeah, he's not
is
He's not TE1. He's going to be TE2, and the only way you get TE2,
I don't think there's a difference.
The
between those
only
two.
way you get TE2 on the field is if you're in 12 personnel, right? That's how it starts. You go from there. Well, Ryan Day on Tuesday at his press conference.
I'm going to argue with you on that point.
I love that.
I think the TE1, as Ohio State views it, is the one that's going to be out there who can do everything that you ask him to do. I think that person is actually still Will Kacmarek.
Okay, but my point is, Will Kacmarek.
Do you disagree with that?
If he's on the field by himself without Max Clare, it's because he's more traditional tight end.
That's what I mean.
But in this game,
all right,
Max Clare's not coming off the field because he's going to be too valuable. But what it means is that Will Kacmarek is going to be out there in the role of what he does best, which is serve as a sixth offensive lineman and give Ohio State some flexibility so they can play some 12 personnel. And Texas is not a team that has defensive ends you want to trifle with.
Yeah.
So I just think it's going to be a really important game for Will Kacmarek because Ohio State, Ryan Day talking on Tuesday, it didn't dive into the game plan very much, but he did say, hey, we're going to be aggressive, but we're going to find balance.
Not going to play it close to the vest.
Not going to play it close to the vest, which is something we've heard, that there's been talk in this building in the last 5 or 6 days of saying, hey, we're going to push it. And I don't think that means like what we would do. Like if you're playing college football on PlayStation, when I'm saying push it, I'm throwing bombs every play. But this is a situation where Will Kacmarek and his flexibility and the ability to be out there and serve as not just adequate, but above level of replacement type of blocker out there is going to be really important. And when all the attention is on Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Brandon Inniss and Max Clare, or the guys out of the backfield, like Will Kacmarek, I bet he has a pretty important catch or two in this game as well.
You see, even if you're playing aggressively and if you're trying to take shots down the field, I understand that Max Clare is a different weapon at tight end. But if Ohio State is trying to run the football, if it has any doubt whatsoever about Phillip Daniels or Ethan Onyanwa holding up in pass protection, both of those things scream Will Kacmarek is more valuable to that.
12 personnel, maybe.
Maybe it will be. I mean, I've seen them use that a ton of times.
I think
that's not new.
I think it
for
gives something away if you send out Will Kacmarek out there without. And now again, maybe I'm underselling Will a touch as far as his ability as a field stretcher or a guy that can go out in pass routes and catch the ball. I think if you are lining up Ohio State and you have right tackle getting help from Will Kacmarek and you don't have Max Clare on the field, then you. If I'm a defensive player, I'm immediately keying run. I mean, that's so. I don't know. I mean, when Ohio State puts Bennett Christian and Will Kacmarek on the field together, guess what? They're going to run the ball. So, I just think that Will Kacmarek. We've spent a ton of time talking about the potential for Brandon Inniss to emerge and Max Clare and all the catches we think he might have, or some cases you may think he won't have. Regardless, I think that Will Kacmarek's role is not ever going to be discussed enough. And I think that this game, more than pretty much anything else on the schedule this year, like it's vital for him to be a physical presence. And again, similar to Malik Hartford on defense, I think you just have to have a guy that is willing to punch someone in the mouth. And I don't know if that is Max Clare's game. We've never watched him play at Ohio State, so we'll see how much edge he plays with. Yeah. But we know Will Kacmarek plays with an edge, and you're going to need that against Trey Moore and Colin Simmons.
Yeah, no, I think that's correct.
I don't care if he's a starter or not. He's not going to be talked about enough, for this episode of Stonks.
Yeah, I mean, I did not consider Will Kacmarek an option because I think he's already going to be on the field so much, and he is a starter.
Would you like to take Will Kacmarek?
I was going to talk about Galani Thurman, like for a true X factor. I think, we've heard so much about the pride that Ohio State takes in being able to play 13 or 14, and the number of times that they did that a year ago with 3 tight ends, 4 tight ends on the field, and doing that against Notre Dame. And Keenan Bailey was right over here to my left, talking about those plays again during the last media availability of training camp. And, if this is one of these talent equated games and everything that you said about the Texas defense is true, and it's going to be hard in short yardage and red zone situations, one of the X factors is then if you do go with that heavier personnel, Galani Thurman is a true secret weapon. And I think the things that are happening for him right now are a product of all of the hard work. On a typical Tuesday when we're in here during a game week, This has been the case for 3 years in a row. Galani Thurman is always out here by himself or with a quality control coach or, Keenan Bailey back in the day, Sean Banks, whoever. Like he has put in the work to get to this point. And I think you're seeing the fruit of that labor right now. And he made a bunch of plays throughout training camp.
What would a Galani fruit taste like, do you think?
A touchdown. Like, what does a touchdown taste like? It's a burst of...
I bet it's like somewhat tropical.
I think it's...
With a hint of banana.
Like probably a gusher fruit snack.
Oh, gushers.
Yeah, I think...
Delightful.
Yeah, I think...
I'm going to be honest with you, and this is going to sound weird, which will be the first time this episode I've said anything weird.
Huh.
I've been thinking about 14 personnel a lot.
Have you?
Yeah, because I've been thinking about it from the and it has nothing to do with this weekend's game, but here we are. We're just jiving.
Are you okay?
I don't know, dude. When you have Max Clare and Galani Thurman and Bennett Christian and Will Kacmarek, that 14 personnel becomes a much different task.
It does.
Than it did a year ago.
100%.
And so, I'm actually a big believer we're going to see that a lot more this year, because when you have Galani and Max out there who can still go out and really cause havoc as a pass catcher, with Will and Bennett staying in as an extra lineman, like, now you get freaky. And I like it. I'm a big fan.
Freaky 14.
I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm like, man, why am I thinking about 14 personnel again?
Welcome to the club, man.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Okay. All right. Well, back to the gray area. Who knows what we're going to get here?
Area. Peyton Pierce, man. Peyton Pierce. He's not a starter.
James Laurinaitis specifically said there are 3 starters.
You don't think?
You know who I'm taking? He's never been a starter before. Arvell Reese.
So not Peyton Pierce. I'm not allowed to take Peyton Pierce?
No.
Shoot.
You took 2 guys that are actually starters already.
All right. Fine. Oh, you want me to pick someone? Okay. Is Bo Atkinson a starter?
I don't think you can take Bo Atkinson.
Oh, I can.
You can.
Give me CJ Hicks then. Because I think, again...
We're going to have to start scripting this show if this is how it's going to go.
I'm taking CJ because, again, as I said earlier, I think Texas is going to run Arch Manning a lot. I think they're going to try and eliminate the ability for Ohio State to contain him. CJ Hicks and his athleticism, the way he can get after the quarterback, the way he can bend the edge and do it quickly is the way you erase that. You don't let Arch sit in the pocket and then decide which run lane he's going to. This is a matter of get there and flush him out so that Arvell and Sonny and Peyton Pierce are able to clean it up quickly. So I don't know what to expect out of CJ Hicks rep-wise on Saturday. If he gets 15 reps, I think then it is a barometer that Ohio State absolutely trusts him implicitly, which will be great for CJ for the rest of the year. If this is a game where we only see him 6-7 times, then I think that it's a reminder that this is another offseason where a lot of people talk about CJ Hicks and the upside, and then it comes down to playing the game, and he hasn't earned that opportunity. So I'm excited for it because I know how much happier he is in his current position, and I know from talking to coaches how much they love what he brings. So if that's the case, if you truly believe that, if you're a coach and you're sitting here for the last 6 months espousing how great CJ Hicks is in this role and how dynamic he can be, then let it loose.
Do you think that the statute of limitations has expired so that we could talk about when Ohio State made its quarterbacks live in the spring and CJ Hicks almost
terrorized them,
made them regret that decision?
Well, again, I mean, this is the reality. He was going against Austin Sareveld and Phillip Daniels and Ethan Anianwa. So if Ohio State's offensive line's any good, which we believe it is.
But I was trying to play off of what you said with Arch Manning running, because Tavian St. Clair tried to run.
Yeah.
And that's not the best thing to do around CJ Hicks.
I just, for me, this is more of a put up or shut up game. Not for CJ, but for the coaching staff talking about him. If you don't trust him enough to let him go out there in this game with his skill set, with what he provides and the difference that he brings to the defensive line, then I don't think that it's worth talking about probably the whole rest of the season.
Okay.
So to me, he's a difference maker in that when you look at Texas and you see the twitchiness of their athletes on the edge, that is what CJ Hicks has the capability of being for Ohio State. We believe, based on everything we've seen from him athletically, based on the way that Jim Knowles talked about him last year, based on the way Matt Patricia's talked about him this summer, it's time. And so what better way to announce yourself as a real defensive end and a game wrecker and little Abdul Carter or little Micah Parsons, whatever you want to be called. Mini, I'm sorry,
like
not
that.
little.
You got to get the quote right.
Like, go out there and do it. So this is not a situation where you can expect CJ Hicks to only pass rush. Like, he needs to be able to defend the run. So I think he's ready, and I'm excited to see him take that step.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a fair point. I think
you can take Bo Atkinson if you want.
It's hard to, going into this game, like Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson are obviously going to take the first snaps, but I think that we're probably likely to see 4, maybe even 5 defensive ends playing. So.
Yeah, I don't want to play the over-under game or the bold predictions game because it's Wednesday and it's not Friday, but who has more snaps in this game, Bo Atkinson or Caden Curry?
I think it'll be Caden Curry, and I think it's also because we've heard enough about Caden Curry being able to supplement the rotation inside and play some 3-tech that I think that's likely to happen. Because what's one scenario where what you're talking about with CJ Hicks where that could play out? Well, it's moving one scenario, not the only one, just one that I can envision that I think is like within reach of happening. Caden Curry getting some reps inside, in true pass rush situations, letting him do that. You can have Edric Houston where you're not really giving anything up there. You can play him or Caden McDonald in that spot, but with the true rushman package that we've seen, I think if you had a group of 4 that was CJ Hicks, Caden Curry, Edric Houston, Kenyatta Jackson, I wouldn't want to be Arch Manning in that scenario. 3rd and long, and that's what you're facing. That sounds pretty terrifying. So
better get him to 3rd and long.
No, you got to stop the run, and then you're allowed to rush.
How do you do that?
You got to. That's maybe a spot where Bo Atkinson helps his team more than anybody else, more than Caden Curry.
Yeah.
I've made this point. I think it's going to add a bunch of intrigue. Not every week. Like, probably a week from now, I'm not going to care that much about what the personnel rotation is going to look like against Grambling, and to a lesser extent, or maybe even a greater extent, Ohio. Like, before getting ready for Washington, before getting ready for Illinois, before getting ready for Wisconsin, obviously what it looks like for Penn State, and in the last week of the regular season, like, that's going to be, I think, a new way to talk about this team. Who's going to play more in this game? What personnel is better suited to stop Texas, or from week to week? And I honestly don't know the answer because this is game 1, and Texas,
and there's so many players we haven't seen.
Texas is new and Ohio State is new. And I think I like the rushman opportunity against this rebuilt Texas offensive line more than I expected that I would. And I think that you don't have to be in a spot maybe where Kenyatta Jackson or Caden Curry or Bo Atkinson or CJ Hicks have to play anywhere near the amount of snaps that JT and Jack did a year ago.
Yeah. So
it could be even amongst them. I don't know. It could be a 2017 situation.
I love that.
And that worked out pretty well.
So which player are you picking? That's a long way to say nobody else.
Well, I was going to talk about Ethan Onyanwa because I think he's going to play in this game, but it's the same situation.
It feels like a pretty important day for him regardless.
Yeah.
Even if he's not starting, he is going to get some reps. And when you come into this program as a transfer from Rice and there's the expectation that you're coming in to be an immediate plug-and-play starter, and now maybe you're not being discussed as a starter, it seems like a pretty important opportunity for him to...
He needs to be ready.
Yeah, I don't know if it's right to ship or what, but
it's not even a matter when we mentioned Philip Daniels on snap judgments on Tuesday, where it's like, if it's a little bit, rocky early on, do you make a quick pull? This is the first game of the season, and every time you see it, it's not going to be that hot, so maybe it won't be a cramping situation. But the first time that you get into a truly physical game, like, some guy's going to need to come to the sideline for a minute.
Yeah.
And Ethan Onyanwa, whether that's guard or tackle, he is the 6th lineman for this team. I firmly believe that that's the case.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in this game. I don't know when, and I don't know for how long or how much. But when he gets that opportunity, he's going to have the chance to say, well, I didn't have this job out of camp, but now you can't take me back out.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a very real chance that happens.
And ironically, it's primarily the game film against Texas that has him at Ohio State to begin with.
Sure.
So if you're looking for an opportunity, if you're Ethan Onyanwa, to say, actually, I do deserve to be the starting right tackle, you're going to get an opportunity to show that on Saturday, so you got to be ready to leave no doubt.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We are halfway to that matchup. Can't be more excited than we already are. We will have some snap judgments later on a Woody Wednesday. We're going to hear from Ryan Day briefly for a lightning round. Don't know if we'll hear anything all that different from Tuesday, but we'll wait and find out. We'll hear from the captains. We will have 3 things on Thursday. We will have Freaky Friday, an extended version, both on YouTube and 10TV Plus. And as a reminder, if you want to come hang out with us and everyone at 97.1 The Fan, we will be at the O on Lane on Friday. Our show will be at 2:30. Believe we're going to stream that. And if you want to send in some questions, if you can't be there, do that at the Austin and Birm Show at gmail.com email address. Or if you want to come hang, we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
We're ready.
There's no better way to start preparing for Saturday morning than by starting drinking on Friday afternoon.
I can't see any fault in that logic. So that's a great point. That's the kind of analysis you can only get on the beat with Austin and Birm. Thanks for joining us for some Wednesday stocks. We're going to have actual game to break down by this time next week. So that's pretty exciting too. He's Birm.
But I want to be clear. I don't want Arch Manning to be hurt. I just want him to reconsider playing football.
Simple enough. Without an injury.
Yeah.
Question your life.
Yeah.
And everything about it.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
That's what I'm doing right now.
As you should.
He's Birm. I'm Austin. We'll talk to you later on Wednesday night. See ya.